go. It is a tangible item, no question about it. And Terry Hollins, it probably most certainly is not meant. You had a chance to put your hands on that hay baler, not light.
It is not light at all. I mean, even it's slightly raised as well to make the pickup a little bit easier. And I literally felt like my head was going to explode picking it up. So it is extremely heavy. And the other thing we've got to factor in, obviously, we've got the arm over arm afterwards. Now, if you're pulling a truck with nice sort of round, perfect tyres, or a vehicle that's got nice sort of smooth tyres, they're not anywhere near as hard as tractor tyres are. You've got to look at the treads on a tractor tyre. It's basically like pulling a vehicle up the curb or up on the pavement. Every pull is like that. You've basically got to sort of, tractor tyres are not meant to move. And this is the way, obviously, with the treads, it makes it even harder. So it's not just the weight with that. It's going to be a lot tougher to move just because of the tyres and the treads.
Alexei Novikov faces off with Maxime Boudreau. Remember, it's all about time. We're just putting it in pairs to kind of expedite things just a little bit. But to Terry Holland's point, it is 835 pounds in hand that they will have to carry or push as wheelbarrow style, Jerry, all the way down. Not the complete length of the venue, but it's looking about, about 20 yards-ish?
Yeah, it's at least that. And Maxime, he does really well at these type of events, so I would expect a good time for Maxime. He has a good grip.
So here we go, 90 seconds on the clock. Maxime Boudreau with a great start. Alexei Novikov, as we said, he's been battling some injuries with that arm, and it looks like he's just not going to be able to go with it. Maxime Boudreau, though, he is in and he is off, making quick work of that 835 pounds, and now it's on to 9,100 pounds, Terry. This is reckoning of the old days when we used to pull airplanes and trains.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough event. Obviously, just the wheelbarrow on its own would be a tough event, but to do it with the arm over arm afterwards as well is just crazy. And Maxime's incredibly good at this sort of event, so, if he's sort of really having to put a lot of effort in to finish it, then we know it's a tough event.
Yeah, just coming off that heavy wheelbarrow, the grip's already going to be a little taxed, and after about halfway through this rope, you can tell his hands are gone. He's having to wrap it around his forearm.
You see Alexei as well trying to go backwards just so he can get some extra distance on the ball.
Alexei's getting everything he can out of it.
Final 30 seconds.
Max had to shed the belts. Here's where breathing starts becoming a problem.
I think part of the problem is we've had Brian test this event, and Brian's unbelievably good at this sort of thing, and his grip is incredible. So, the fact that they've had Brian testing it, and he's like, yeah, that's okay. It's going to be tough for the guys to match what he can do, even though he's retired.
So Boudreau and Alexei Novikov will be credited with distance, as neither one of them finished the course. Maxime Boudreau had a much better performance on the first apparatus, the wheelbarrow of the baler. So he completed that, and he got the tractor, I'd say, about halfway down the course. Terry, I got to think that once you get that thing rolling, now easier said than done, keep the momentum rolling, because you're talking about those treads. Once it comes to a stop, getting it going again is brutal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you really, if it stops, you're in big trouble. And obviously, like I said, I mean, Maxime is incredibly good at this sort of event normally. So if he's, struggling with it, it's going to be tough for some of the guys, I'm not going to lie. But, like you said, with those treads, you've got to keep it moving. The second it stops, you've then got to try and sort of pull it against that tread. And like I said, it's like trying to pull it up a sort of curb or over a block or something like that. Every pull you do, it is very, very tough.
So they will put the implements back into place. Again, Maxime Boudreau got about halfway through that. Alexei went for the inverted, just trying to get some distance. And you can see he just does not have the grip that we're used to seeing from the big man from Ukraine.
I think it's good, though, because we still see the fight in him.
Yeah.
He was still fighting for every foot he could get. Just keep going, run the clock out literally all the way to the end, just trying to get any bit of distance he can.
Yeah, he never gave up on it. Alexei's a warrior, champion. He's not going to give up.
Power medley as the first pairing are off, and it is Maxime Boudreau putting up the best distance. Alexei Novikov never even made it to the tractor, but he has been battling injury. Power medley is going to be amazing. We'll see how it all plays out. I want to thank the good folks at Undefined Nutrition and Evolution Athletics. So now both apparatus are back in place. They'll be measuring. They've got all the times, putting the ropes back there. So 90 seconds on the clock as we bring out the next two competitors. Tristan Hoth and Pavlo Kordiaka will be in this pairing. Now, Jerry, we were talking about Pavlo Kordiaka. He's not the prototypical strongman with bulk and size. He's long and lean, but cardio probably should not be a problem for him.
I would expect him to do well at this. He does really well at moving events like this. He's athletic, he's fast, he has a good grip.
So you got the Canadian and the Ukrainian, and they will be battling the clock. 90 seconds in all.
It'll be interesting to see if this works out for Tristan, because obviously he passed on the squat and he's good at this sort of event. So this really could pay off for him. If he goes in and puts a big performance in here, that decision to not push himself on the squat could be a great decision at that.
Well, as they started day number 2, is Tristan Hoth in 13th place and Kordiaka in 14th place. So they're desperate need of points. They want to get themselves into top 10 as the clock is now running. Tristan Hoth takes it in hand again, 835 pounds in hand, and now both men have it rolling. Kordiaka, the first one to complete it. Now he's already dropping the belt. He's jumping onto the rope.
This is the thing, the wheelbarrow almost is there just to fatigue the guys, fatigue their grip, stuff like that. This event is totally won or lost on the arm over arm pull.
And there you see the SW scale integration, taking weights off where their feet are. You see the live force and the peak force.
You see when that force really drops down and it plummets down to like 35 pounds and it starts coming back up. That's like what Terry's been talking about. That momentum starts falling off on that tractor.
Man, I think I'd slip the driver an extra 20 or something like that, saying, just put it in gear for me if you mind.
I'd be following him around, watching, making sure he didn't eat too much food before he did this event.
Terry'd be out recruiting some like 50-pound driver.
That's it.
Yeah, by trying to find an air compressor, put some more air in those tires.
Tristan Hoth there on the right side of your screen has the slight advantage right now, about a half a tractor length. And I think this is pretty cool how Brian's integrating this implement to this area of Colorado, known for their harvesting, as we come down to the final 5 seconds, and the clock will run out now. So it looks like Tristan Hoth, I don't know, that's pretty close to where Maxime Boudreau was.
Really close to Maxime. That's going to be close.
It was interesting to see as well when, obviously at the beginning, Tristan had a peak force of 450 pounds. When he was giving it everything at the end to try and get it moving, he never quite got up to that. You could really see the fatigue from that false plate. Starting to set in, you could see that he just could not put as much power through it as he could right at the beginning of that event.
And Jerry, you might think right off the hand, looking at this, it's all upper body, but I'm guessing with that rope, when they're doing it, they're using a lot of the lower leg.
Absolutely.
Lower
I mean, obviously
well.
your grip is your weak link in it, but you want to turn that thing into a leg press and get a good stroke and push all the way back, lean back. It's like a leg press and a row all kind of put together.
Some of the athletes talking about they would struggle with this one because their grip wasn't good. And you look at the grip on this, when you got 835 Terry in hand, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, exactly that. And obviously with the rope as well, when you do the events like that, you can just feel your forearms pumping up more and more and more. And the trouble is, once it's gone, it's gone. There's not really a lot you can do. You can try wrapping it around like Pavlo did and Tristan did. But once it's gone, it's gone.
See him putting his back into it, trying to pull that. Again, folks, that is 9,100 pounds that they are pulling. And they're trying to pull it about, I will say 25 feet the length. No one has completed it as of yet.
I like the typical disappointed look at the hand like Pablo here.
Yeah.
His hands failed him.
We've both been there at some point, though, when you're sort of looking down going, why won't you just work?
Every athlete at one point, you just have disappointed look at your hand like, I'm so disappointed in you right now.
So the next pairing making their way out. Matt Ragg there will be on the right side of the course, and Ivor Smuckstelis will be on the left-hand side.
So it's interesting. Do you really attack the wheelbarrow and go as fast as you can to give yourself as much time as possible on the arm over arm, or do you just back off just a tiny bit to try and save energy for the arm over arm? I think I would personally attack it hard, try and get the wheelbarrow done as quickly as possible. Obviously, it's less time in your hands then, and then you've got less fatigue in your grip.
Absolutely. I would go as fast as I could because it's time under tension, right?
Yeah.
So
Or
as you can shed that thing out of your hands.
You want to get it over as fast as you can.
Or it's just time and attention. You don't want to spend any more time holding that thing. You have to. You want to get onto that tractor because that's where it's going to take all your effort.
So here we go, 90 seconds on the clock. Ivor Smoxtelis gets a good start right off the bat, and then the 8:95 becomes 8:35, becomes a real thing. Meanwhile, Matt Ragg has got a nice pace going here. How about the Kiwi?
Really slumped forward, but he's moving.
Crosses the line. Now he takes a nice slow walk over to the rope, Terry. To your point, he's shedding the belt. Everything's gone.
He doesn't need the belt for this. He wants to get as much air as possible.
Ivor Smoxtelis has got it up and going again. Now Ragg, try to get that massive tractor moving, 9,100 pounds. I tell you, make sure that your foot is nowhere near that brake driver.
Matt putting in a solid performance here.
Yeah. He's got a good pull there. You see the wheels are turning over, and it's then when he regrips, Jerry, it's like it comes to a stop. And to Terry's point, that's when it really gets hard.
Yeah, you really want to come up and regrip as fast as possible.
I mean, I think it shows just how good Tristan and Maxime were, obviously, on that event. They were both putting big performances.
Yep.
It's a really tough event.
So distance for Ivor Smoxtelis on the initial wheelbarrow apparatus of 835 pounds. He'll get distance on that. And Ragg makes it about almost 10 feet on the pole on the tractor. Maxime Boudreau is the current leader so far. So Terry, you called it. He went about 2 or 3 feet farther than anyone else on that tractor pole. He had a fast pole.
Yeah, he's very good at that sort of event, Maxime. I mean, he's perhaps underperformed a tiny bit through the rest of the competition, but he's a very good compare, and he's very good at this sort of event.
Look at that walk by Matt Ragg. He dropped it 2 or 3 feet into it, and then the second pickup, he said, I got this. Ivors, the fans just cheered him on. This was his third attempt.
Yeah, he almost did that first run where he sort of only made it a couple of feet, and then the next one was a much, much better effort. I'd love to know what he did differently on that second attempt.
This is where Matt Ragg put his back into it, Jerry. All right, well, we've got a break before we get our next pairing up there. Let's check in on the floor with the champ, Brian Shaw.
All right, guys, a really fascinating part of this event is on the front of the tractor, we actually have a load cell hooked up. So as the guys are pulling this, we get a live force and we get a peak force. So we really and truly get to see how much force these guys are putting on this rope to make this tractor move. Really, really cool to get this data, get this feedback, just try to take Strongman to the next level.
Yeah, no question about it, guys. And I love what Brian's doing, implementing all this technology and data so the guys can really see what they're doing. And the fans can appreciate the power and the torque that they're putting into it.
Oh, absolutely. Now, talking, Terry talked to Southwest Scale guy. I was down there talking to him as well. Really cool stuff. They're a local company here in Colorado. We were talking about the other day when we did the Q&A about, how Strongman now is bringing in sponsors like that. That, 10 years ago, we would never saw sponsors like that.
No, I mean, it's fantastic. And they're doing it, obviously, just to support the sport, to be part of it. And, I mean, it's interesting as well with sort of the way the science of strongman has moved forwards. And now things like that are starting to come into the equation. You can almost take those results away and use them as almost a training tool as well.
Terry, do you think, and I'll ask Jerry the same question, do you guys think the Shaw Classic and Strongest Man on Earth is taking it to the next level with all this data and all the technology they're bringing in?
For sure, yeah, and I think it's going to continue to get bigger and better, and more things are going to get added.
Absolutely, they've done that every year, keep raising the bar.
Tom Stoltman will be on the left side of your screen and going against Thomas Evans. Maxime Boudreau has the fastest mark so far. Stoltman's going to have no problem with the 8:35. He clears it. Now here's where the big man at 6'8", 403 pounds, Terry and Jerry, I think he's got to have an advantage here.
Yeah, long pulls for Tom, because obviously when you're taller, sometimes you can do less pulls to cover the same to cover the same distance. So it's all about if his grip can hold on to it, obviously, then that's a big benefit. But obviously for Tom, he's got to do less pulls because he's so much taller than some of the shorter guys would have to do.
He reminds me, you guys remember going back in the day of Magnus Samuelsson of Sweden. Remember how tall he was and how quick he'd move his back and his hands?
Yeah, just those long levers.
He's doing well here, Tom, though. But he needs the points. Tom's in a position where he really does need those points. Needs to try and get back into contention again.
Yeah, absolutely. He needs maximum points here. And this is an event where he can get it.
Watch that life force. Look at that. It goes from 15 to over 300. His peak is at 462. And everyone wants him to get it done. Right now, Maxime Boudreau has it at 27 feet 2 inches. Stoltman needs these points in a big-time way. Final 5 seconds. And that will do it.
Big effort there from Tom.
Yeah, the big Scot did a fantastic job.
That's going to be close. He might have got Max on that.
Maybe. It looks like it's going to go that way, where a lot of the guys are going to sort of struggle around that same distance. So if you're the one that's lucky and gets that tiny bit more than everyone else, it can give you a lot of points.
Yeah, if you just get those extra couple pulls, those extra feet, really going to make a difference.
Sorry, Jerry. So the folks watching at home that want to get a friendly wager in with their neighbor, do you think anyone gets the whole thing done?
I think we got a couple guys who could potentially finish this.
If they don't, Terry Hollins has volunteered to go down and do it himself.
You're joking. Me and Jerry can do it together. How about that?
We'll tandem this thing.
Team 10. Oh, that'd be hilarious. Well, Tom Stoltman, I tell you what, he looked like he might have got it done, but man, that last 20 seconds, he just got gassed.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Tom is obviously he's been backed into a corner a little bit, perhaps, you know, underperformed on the stones, and then the squat, maybe he would have been expecting a rep or two. You know, he needs the points. He needs to sort of, you know, show everyone why he's been one of the best in the world and go out there and deliver some big performances on these last few events.
835 pounds in hand. The machine weighs 3,500 pounds, and the tractor total 9,100 pounds. I want to remind you folks, this is just event number 6. These guys look absolutely gassed. Well, they should be. They've already done 6 events and 2 more still to go. Coming up, we've got the circus dumbbell medley. That'll be next. And then it'll be the single fingers into power stairs to wrap things up. So, wow, that was a great one. Move on now to T-Rex and Austin Andrade. You've got Evan Singleton and Austin Andrade competing head-to-head as we wait to find out if Tom Stoltman beat Max Boudreau's 27-2. And we are getting word that Maxine has retained the lead. So 27-2, pulling on that tractor is still the mark to beat. And Tom came in at 21 feet 11 inches. So as the next competitors make their way out, there he is, T-Rex Evan Singleton, the pride of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, at 31 years of age, 6'6", 350 pounds, asking for a little extra love here from the Blue Arena fans. Austin Andrade now, 6'2", 390 pounds. Mark Philippi there, one of the judges, legend strongman in his own right. Got to be honest with you, the officials here, guys, I know we had a couple little snafus yesterday and that, but they have been on the level. They've been on point on the way they judge. And Terry, I know, and Jerry, you guys, competitors, all you want is a fair, level playing field.
I mean, that's what I've always said. If you're a little bit soft or a little bit lenient on the rules, everyone was explaining the rules. It was explained that everything was going to be very strict. When the rules are strict and they're adhered to in a strict way, no one gets away with more than others. When you're a little bit soft, someone always gets away with that cheap rep or that little bit extra. And you don't ever want that to happen, not when you've got the best guys in the world all competing against each other.
And look at this. These guys are absolutely blitzing this first course. That's 835 pounds in hand, almost equal as they get to the finish line. Did it in about 12 seconds. Now it's Evan Singleton, first man to the rope. He gets that massive tractor rolling, 9,100 pounds. And Austin Andrade right behind him. And now we've got a tractor race.
Austin's going great on this side.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's getting fast hands. It's almost on that time he did, but
He's had some big force on us as well.
Yeah.
463 Mac peak force for Austin Andrade. Evan is quite literally putting his back into it, trying to get that monster moving again. Still 25 seconds to go, so Austin Andrade, if he can keep this pace, guys, he's got a shot at finishing this thing. If not, he's going to move into first place.
I think that just put him in first place, that last pull.
Still got some time left as well. He needs to just keep working at this point, try and get any distance he can get.
Get one more big pull.
Final 5 seconds.
Yeah, I think he's done.
And that's it.
Great effort. He's done really well there.
Austin is absolutely spent.
That was a great effort. I think that might have put him in the lead.
Yeah, I spoke to Austin backstage. He was a little bit disappointed with the squat. Just before we did this event, he was a little bit disappointed with how the squat went, was a bit frustrated. But obviously come out and use that frustration on this event and put in a massive performance.
Yeah, that was great.
Smash, Austin Andrade. I think he might be in first place. We're going to wait to get the official words as they are getting the measurements in. Man, I tell you what, that first 10 feet, he was booking. Here it is. Again, 835 pounds they're wheelbarrowing.
I love the story of sort of what Austin's been through, obviously. Last year, winning the amateurs, earned his place to be here. You know, he earned his right to compete against the best guys in the world, and then he's turned up a year later and absolutely delivered against the highest elite level of strongmen there is. He's, yeah, I love that sort of, you know, progression, seeing him getting better and better with every show that passes, and I think he's, you know, he's got a massive, massive future ahead of him.
Oh, absolutely. He didn't leave any question that he shouldn't have been here this weekend. He's proved his spot.
Oh, yeah.
And the official word is Austin Andrade has now moved into first place, 30 feet 1 inch.
It kind of shows that system of like the qualifier that Brian's putting on works, you know, because you're getting athletes like this are sort of earning their right to be here, and they're working their way through the system now, which is brilliant.
Yeah. Well, like you were talking, Terry, about holding a standard here in Strongest Man Earth. He's also holding that same standard in the open.
Yeah.
That way, whoever ends up here next year is by no fluke.
Yeah.
So Wes Derwinski now out of Canada, and Trey Mitchell III, the American. Taking a look at their apparatus. Again, we'll remind you, the first thing up is the Baylor. That's 835 pounds. They'll be in hand, and then they move on to the arm over arm, pulling the tractors 9,100 feet. I want to thank the fine folks at Undefined Nutrition and Evolution Athletics making this happen, and the supplement brand and supportive gear line owned by Brian and Carrie Shaw. So, and I want to thank the local farmers that brought out these tractors in Baylor. This is ridiculous. That's some serious hardware. Here we go, 90 seconds on the clock. Quick start there for Derwinski.
Well, there's not much need to add weight to farming equipment, is there? It's already heavy to start with. But then still they have added some weight to the handles just to make it even tougher than it was.
Surprising to see Trey Mitchell struggling with this grip.
It's one of his weak links. There's times his grip is not very good.
He's just not being able to get this thing off the ground.
Unfortunately, he's had this in the past, even here. We've had heavy wheelbarrow in the past and frame.
Yeah, if I remember rightly, when they did the power medley a couple of years ago, he actually placed in last place and still went on and won the show.
Yeah.
Guys, look at this. We got a Canadian that's flirting with the possibility of finishing the course. Tractor comes to a stop, so a complete announcer jinx right there, but he had that thing rolling, and now he's got it moving again. He still has 34 seconds to go.
It's true what Wes was saying earlier. He said where in the intro where they've all got great grips up in Canada, and the thing is, it quite often goes like that. If you get a lot of one really good deadlifter from a country, then all the other guys from that country tend to be good as well. And it's true what he was saying. All the Canadians are good at these sort of events with like real sort of hard grip events and stuff. We've seen a good performance from Maxine, Tristan, and now Wes as well.
But they love doing heavy wheelbarrows up there.
Yeah.
They've got that one old wheelbarrow they've used forever. They put all those plates on it, and the crowd loves it. It's almost been like, could become one of the historic strength events up there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've used it myself a couple of times as well, back in the day.
Yeah.
So this will be close to see if Derwinski did move ahead. Austin Andrade's 30 feet 1 inch is the mark to beat.
It's good. He did a really good effort. I don't know if he's quite going to get Andrade, but
Clay Mitchell struggled. He's going to get credit for about 2.5 feet, but I thought it was pretty cool that he went over there and cheered on Wes Derwinski. Great start for the Canadian.
Strongman seems to really be growing in Canada at the moment. They've got some great athletes coming through.
I don't know what they're feeding him up there, Terry, but whatever it is, it's working because they've made their presence felt here in Colorado.
Well, and I think it sort of goes with, you know, when the standard raises with a couple of them, everyone else follows, and I think that's the way it's sort of going, where they've obviously got Mitch Hooper up in Canada, they've got Wes, they've got Tristan, you know, there's a lot of good guys up there, and they're all obviously competing against each other on a regular basis, and it brings the whole game up in that country.
24 feet 5 inches is the official distance for Derwinski, so Wesley sitting in a pretty good spot right now. Andrade still leads with a 30.1 and Maxime with a 27.2. As we move on now, we get ourselves down to the final 4 competitors. This will be a great matchup here. You're looking at the mountain half-door, Julius Bjornsson, 35-year-old, 6'9", 430 pounds, and Bobby Thompson, 31-year-old from Fredericksburg, Virginia, 6'1", 335 pounds.
Yeah, really excited to see how Hofstra attacks this.
Be interesting to see, because I have seen Thor have a bit of a meltdown on an arm-over-arm in the past. A few years back, obviously, when he was competing. Actually, when Thor was really sort of in his prime years, he had a bit of a meltdown on the arm-over-arm. I'm sure he's not going to do it again, but, you know, it is possible.
Both men getting good grips, good distance, and look at this, Hafthor Bjornsson just flying through this course. That's probably the fastest we've seen so far. Does it just about 10 seconds, and he makes quick work of that. Now the belt comes off, and now he's dealing with 72 seconds to get 9,100 pounds moving.
We're into the real test now. Oh. Thor really got that moving straight away.
Almost 500 pounds on that first pull.
I think that's the highest number we've seen so far.
I believe it is.
Look at it, it's moving. Hafthor's got it moving, as does Thompson.
You could literally see on that first pull the way the tractor moved.
Yeah.
Thor's power was that little bit higher.
Love to see what his peak
I think he's going to finish this.
That's where that strong back grip, that deadlift strength comes into play.
30 feet 1 inch is the mark to beat. Look at this. Hafthor might get it. He's still got 30 seconds. Thompson's grip is starting to fail just a little bit. He's starting to go to the arm wrap, but look at that peak force. 497 pounds coming from the mountain.
He is as well. You see Thor, he's getting that big, long pull. Like he's still pulling, getting as much out of his body as he can.
Still got 10 seconds. He's going to go into first place, no question about it.
2 pulls.
5 seconds.
We run out of time.
Great performance of him.
Yeah, Hafthor Bjornsson, the new leader.
Bobby put in a solid performance there as well.
He's close to where Maxime finished.
You can see just how much is taken out of him as well.
It's completely taxed.
And Hafthor, you can just eye it from here. He's definitely moved into first place.
Yeah, that's a good distance, especially for what we've seen. That's going to be a good distance.
All right, let's go back to the wheelbarrow, guys. It was very quick. Watch how fast Hafthor gets this done right at 10 seconds with 835 pounds in hand.
Yeah, really easy work for Hafthor to move that wheelbarrow.
It's just the way the tractor moves on that first pull. You could literally see the difference.
Yeah.
Without even seeing the number on the force plate, you could see the difference in the way it moves.
Yeah, he put, what, almost 40 pounds more than what we've seen than anyone else on it.
That was unbelievable. He wanted the whole distance, but just ran out of time. The fans wanted to see that tractor cross the line, and the big man just had nothing left in his arms. I'm sure he's thinking about the next 2 events. But Hafthor does go into first place. He gets 34 feet 3 inches, so that becomes the mark to beat. The worst he can do now, guys, in this event is 3rd place as we come down to our final pairing. Final pairing will be a good one with Lucas Hatton, but he has said that he's just not sure how his grip's going to be on this, and this is a big grip thing, and we know how good Mitchell Hooper is.
Yeah, we're going to see a great effort from Hooper. Possibly finish this. Hatton, I think the wheelbarrow is going to probably be tough. If he already was worried about his grip going into it.
You think about this, Terry. If Mitchell Hooper can win this event, he's going to need to go better than 34. That'll be 6 events won by 2 men. They'll be even on 3 and 3.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm almost getting to the point with Mitch Hooper out. Like, I'm convinced he's like part robot or something. It's just crazy. The guy sort of almost appeared out of nowhere. Came to World's Strongest Man his first time, did pretty well, and then since then he's just been on an absolute, destruction trail in every competition he's done, except for the Shore Classic.
And I think Matt Eisman made a good point. He's maybe one of the most cerebral athletes in the competition.
An incredible athlete physically, an incredible athlete mentally as well.
He's really well.
Got it all.
Yeah, you're right. Lucas Hatton did really well on that one.
Ahead of Hooper on that wheelbarrow.
So now the calls for the Moose, and look how quick.
Wow.
As soon as he gets pulled, he goes right back that rope.
Mitch has gone over 500 pounds, 527 pounds of force, which is way higher than anyone else has been.
He's got a lot of time to deal with.
He's already in a wrap in his hand, though. That slows you down when you got to throw your arm around, that rope around your arm.
It's always that tricky one, isn't it? Because you start to wrap too early, it keeps stopping the whole time.
Yeah,
it just throws off the momentum, doesn't it?
You really have to try and keep it moving, but when your grip's that gone and you've got to start to wrap, it's the only way you can do it.
You know who's watching this closely is Hafthor Bjornsson, because he would love to see Mitch Hooper not finish this, obviously, and see a couple guys getting between him and them, and he can make up some of those points.
He really needs it with any chance to try to catch him.
Still got 15 seconds.
Mitch is probably just now, he's got to do enough to get second, and then it obviously still keeps him in a great position.
He'd only close 1 point on him, Hafthor Bjornsson, but if he can get a couple athletes in between him and Hooper, then he makes up. And there it is.
I think he's definitely done enough to get second.
I think you're right. I think that last 5 seconds, he went all in. Look at that peak. You talked about that, Terry. 527 pounds.
It's quite interesting to see the difference in sort of the peak with Mitch and the way Thor's graph was, where Thor was very up, down, and Mitch was sort of at that first point was really high for an almost consistent amount of time. It was very different.
Very, very interesting. We're keeping the race now between Hafthor Bjornsson and Mitch Hooper. Now we're waiting for the measurement. I think that last pull that Mitch Hooper got in there might be the difference. Let's go back to the wheelbarrow part first. Both men very good.
Yeah, it just depends on where they stop it, because the tractor was technically still rolling when the time ran out. So,
well, if they told the driver, as soon as you hear that whistle, slam your foot on the brake. Well, Hafthor's out here, anticipating a possible winner's interview. This is going to be really close. Well, while we're waiting, it's always a good time to talk to the mountain, so why don't we go down to Matt Eisman, who's with Hafthor Bjornsson, and find out his thoughts on what he saw from Mitch Hooper. Not the official winner yet. We'll get that in a moment.
Word. Once again, Thor, another event victory.
There you go.
You're having a monster contest, my friend. But I want to bring something up. Before we started today, you had your family come over. Your wife came down with your little boy. And you told him you were going to be lifting, and you told him you needed to cheer. What's it like having your family and especially the next generation of mountain, your little boy watching you compete?
You know what? This is the first time my son is watching me compete in a whole competition, international competition. So it means a lot to me. You know, I'm a family guy, and having my family here watching me, cheering me on, means everything to me, and I love them to death.
Well, you just continue to have monster performances. You're climbing the ranks here. We're waiting to get the official breakdown so we know all the standings. What do you have left in the tank, buddy? 2 more events. How you feeling?
You know what? This morning when I woke up, usually after the first day you wake up really, really sore. But for some reason I woke up really good. I have a lot more to give, and I'm going to do my absolute best in the next 2 events. Mitch Hooper is looking incredible. That man is on a mission, and he's really hard to beat. But I'll give my absolute best.
Well, that sounds scary. Once again, you did it, buddy. Congrats on another event win. Ladies and gentlemen, the mountain, Hafthor Björnsson.
So let's look at this one more time, guys. This was a stellar performance, Jerry.
Absolutely great performance by Hafthor. You can tell the experience, grip strength, back strength paid off in this. Came very close to completing this.
And I'll tell you what, Terry, it was pretty impressive what Mitch was able to do, though, and as you said, just keeping that gap limited between him and Hafthor to keep the points coming his way.
Yeah, we say it all along about Mitch. He's just so consistent. He's so consistently good at everything. You know, when he's not winning events, he's always very, very close. So that's the sign of a real, true, great strongman. Is when you just don't really have those weaknesses. You're always there or thereabouts.
Well, coming up next, it will be the Circus Dumbbell Medley. We're looking forward to that. No joking about this. This is some serious apparatus as they clear the field here. We will have Circus Dumbbell, and of course, you will not want to miss the finale. It's the Fingal Fingers into Power Stairs for a champion as we get ready to crown a new winner in 2024. We'll be back with the final 2 events when we return to Loveland, Colorado, and the Blue Arena. You're watching the 5th Annual Shaw Classic, presenting Strongest Man on Earth, brought to you by Nice Rock.